guys. I have one more read aloud for you. I just did an informational text and I thought I would make it fun with a fictional text. So I'm going to be reading to you The Luckiest Leprechaun. And this is by Justine Korman and the illustrations are by Denise Brunkins. And there's the cover. And I can tell this is a fictional story because this little leprechaun I know is a fictional character. And I see illustrations, and that's a clue, not always, but most of the time illustrations are a clue that we're reading a fictional text. So let's see what it's all about. It's The Luckiest Leprechaun. Mackenzie O. Shamrock, at your service, but you can call me Matt. I'm a leprechaun, and I don't care if you believe in me or not. Get too close and I'll show you who's real with my hammer. I may be small, but we leprechauns are not to be trifled with. There, now that that's settled, pull up a toadstool or a chair if you're too big, and I'll tell you my story. Ooh, he looks grumpy. I was born beneath a fairy hill back when time was new. Ever since, I've been making shoes for the fairy folk and guarding my gold from greedy people. Treasure hunters have to get up pretty early in the morning to get the best of Mackenzie O. Shamrock. And since leprechauns work at night and sleep during the day, I'm up much earlier than most. No, they haven't made the human yet who could outsmart me. There he is in the tree. And then here's some more illustrations. Then people found a new way to boil my potatoes. They stopped believing in leprechauns. They believed in all sorts of nonsense. But the little man making shoes beneath their very own hedge couldn't possibly exist. It got so only children and oddballs like Professor Chester believed in me. I didn't need people anyway. I had a nice home under a tree in a quiet park. As long as I had my gold and my work, this leprechaun was content. That means that he's okay with the way he lived. Every night I cobbled for the fairies. Since all the little things do is dance and lose their shoes, business was steady. That means it was good. He had to make lots of shoes for them. Every morning I packed away my tools and curl up in my cozy bed. And that's just what I was doing one fine morning when I heard a horrible scratching overhead. Dirt poured down on my favorite armchair as a pair of giant paws burst through the ceiling. My thimble collection clattered to the floor. I grabbed my hammer and ran outside to see who was wrecking my home. I expected a goblin or some other horrible monster. I found a shaggy red dog burying a stinky soup bone. Hello, she barked. Who are you? I'm Mackenzie O. Shamrock, I shouted. And you've got some nerve destroying my home. You'll not be stealing my gold, you mangy mortal. So just take your bone and go. I'm sorry. I didn't realize anyone was living here, the dog said. Is that your gold? It's very pretty. Go! Shoot! Get lost, I shouted. The dog didn't budge. Shaking her head, she said, I feel terrible. I've got to make this up to you. I'll fix your house. I'll be your guard dog. I don't need a guard dog, I said. Do you think that leprechaun likes that dog very much? I don't think so. But you must need a friend. Everyone needs friends, the dog said. My name is Lucky. What's yours? That dog is being very kind to him right now. That made me even madder. Mackenzie O'Shamrock, I yelled. Oh, that's right. You did tell me, Lucky replied. But that's so much to remember. May I just call you Mac? I hope you'll be friends. Everything's more fun when you do it together, don't you think? Just the other day Lucky would have gone on like that for hours, but I told her to go away and stay away. Apparently, stay was the only command the dumb dog knew. Oh, that's so sad. From then on, wherever I went, there was Lucky. She was slobbering over me when I woke up at dusk. She was on my heels while I gathered cobwebs for thread. How do you think the leprechaun feels about the dog right now? I think he's kind of annoyed with him, right? Poor Lucky. Lucky even tailed me when I made my deliveries to the fairies. And she always had a cheerful word or 100. It drove me nuts. That dog was even happy when it rained. Rain is where rainbows come from, Lucky said. I love rainbows. Don't you? I could chase them all day. Why don't you go chase them so I can get some quiet around here? I growled. Okay, we're kind of in the middle of the story, so I want to pause here, and I want you guys to think, what do you think is going to happen? The title of the story is The Luckiest Leprechaun. I know that the dog's name is Lucky. Do you think that has something to do with the title? What do you think's going to happen with their relationship? Do you think that they're going, that Mac is going to stay annoyed with Lucky? Or do you think they're going to continue to be friends? What do you guys think will happen next? Okay, we'll see what happens. After a while, Lucky learned not to talk so much, especially when I first woke up in the evening. I won't say we became friends, but she got to be slightly less annoying. Aw, poor Lucky. She looks a little bored, doesn't she? She's a little unhappy. Speaking of annoying, remember that human I mentioned a while back? The oddball who believed in leprechauns? That's right, Professor Chester. Well, he started snooping around my park. He's after my gold, I cried. Maybe he just wants to be friends, Lucky suggested. I snorted. Humans want only one thing from a leprechaun. Gold. But he won't get the best of Mackenzie O'Shamrock. Professor Chester was getting dangerously close. He even found a fairy shoe. Don't worry, Mac, said Lucky. You've got your guard dog, remember? I won't let anything happen to your gold. I took no comfort in the mutt's ravings. What do you think's gonna happen? think maybe Lucky's going to prevent Professor Chester from getting his gold. I watched Professor Chester poring over his books of leprechaun lore. If only I could prove his existence, he muttered. I shuddered. Maybe he'll just go away, Lucky said. I thought about packing up, but I liked my cozy life under the tree. Besides, business was good, and it's not so easy to find a park filled with fairies. Then, one day, while I was sleeping, the professor found my tree. He was about to capture me and would have gotten my gold for sure when... There he is. Door's open. Woo, woo, woo. Lucky came charging out of the woods. The professor cried, "Help! Monster! Help!" He dropped his map and ran off screaming. I thought I was having a nightmare. I rolled over with a groan and fell right back to sleep. Professor Chester just kept running until he wore out the soles of his shoes. Turned out the professor was scared of dogs. Well, how lucky is that? That evening, I woke up feeling something was wrong. For one thing, the dumb dog wasn't licking my face. Suddenly, with a jerk, I remembered the nightmare. I checked for my gold in all my secret hiding places. It was gone! And so was Lucky. I called Lucky's name until my voice was hoarse. Hoarse meaning not the riding horse. Hoarse meaning your voice is almost gone. But there was no answer. I felt as if I had lost my shadow. My friend. Uh-oh. How does the leprechaun feel about Lucky right now? I feel like his feelings have changed from the beginning to now. He was annoyed, and now he misses him like he would miss a friend. Then it hit me. My worst fear had come true. The dog wasn't as silly as he seemed. Lucky had duped me into trusting her. As soon as I let down my guard, she ran off with my gold. I, Mackenzie O'Shamrock, the smartest leprechaun of them all, had finally been tricked out of my treasure. I searched the park for hours, but there was no sign of my gold or of Lucky. I told myself the dog had skipped off with my treasure, but part of me didn't believe it. One minute I was furious, the next minute I was worried. What if the stupid pooch had chased a rainbow into traffic or gotten herself taken to the pound? I couldn't even keep my mind on my missing gold. I feel like his feelings really have changed for this dog. Aw, there he is. So worried about Lucky. By dawn, I was the saddest leprechaun in the world. After centuries of being suspicious, I'd finally opened my heart. And pow! The first friend I'd made had stolen my gold. The sun came up and I wiped away a tear. Then a voice behind me said, "Why are you crying?" Who do you think that voice is? Could be Lucky, but it also could be the professor, right? I turned and I saw Lucky and my gold. "Where were you?" I yelled. I was so worried sick. Lucky licked my face. "You do care. I knew we'd be friends." I wiped the dog slobber from my face and grumbled. "I was worried about my gold." I don't know about that. Lucky explained that she'd seen Professor Chester nosing around near my tree. After she'd chased him away, she'd hidden my treasure in the tool shed just to make sure it was safe. Then, worn out from excitement, she'd fallen asleep. What a good dog. Did you really spend all night looking for me? Lucky asked. And the gold, I added hastily. But the damage was done. The dog knew I cared. And she wouldn't stop wagging her tail over it. Aw, she's so happy. So there's my story. Leprechaun gets gold. Leprechaun gets dog. Leprechaun loses gold. Leprechaun admits that a loyal friend is worth more than gold, as long as the friend doesn't slobber too much. Now, if that isn't a tale worth telling upon a toadstool, I'm sure I don't know what is. The end. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed our read aloud for today. I hope you had a happy St. Patrick's Day. I wish that I could have seen you all in your green outfits today, but maybe I will see you soon. I love you guys. I miss you. Have a good night.